Hello everyone, my name is Rhiannon from Blue Dog Board Games, and today I'm going to do a solo playthrough of one of the most visually stunning games that I own, and this is Sagrada. This is about building your own stained glass window and trying to score as much points as possible whilst not leaving any gaps in your window. Now I must admit, this is a game that can be played between 1 and 4 players out of the box. I really do not like the solo mode as it comes out of the box. So today I'm not actually going to be playing the solo mode as if you just bought it off the shelf. What I'm going to be playing is an automa that has been made by a Board Game Geek user. It was printed out a couple of years ago now, so I assume that the files are still there and that I can credit them properly in the comments down below and in the description. Hopefully I'll be able to find it, but if not, thank you whoever made that solo mode, because this is so much better and this is a much more enjoyable experience for me. I will sort of say at the end when I do my final thoughts what I didn't really like about the base game solo mode, but this one just needs a deck of cards printed out, which I have done, and it very much automates another opponent, which is a lot more enjoyable for me. So we are all set up ready to go, so let's get going. So on the left hand side here, this is my player area, so I'm going to be purple. I have my private scoring objective of green die. Over here you have the automa. So what they have is also a glass window that they're trying to complete, but they are just going from top to bottom, and they've got like rows of each of the different, columns of each of the different colours, and they start off with 5 tokens as well to spend on the tools. They are actually interacting with the tools, which is a lot nicer than the sort of base game, because they don't really tend to interact with the tools at all. It's not even an automa that you're playing against, so this is just a bit of a step up in my opinion. The automa here also has a secret objective. I didn't look at what they drew. And also we have a stack of solo automa cards. Apologies about my poor printing and playing, they're all just printed on paper that I've then popped in little card sleeves. So we are going to be drawing 10 of these. There's 10 rounds. And we will see what their actions are. They're then basically going to be drafting die, taking in turns whoever's starting, much like a normal player would. They're also going to be interacting as well with the tools, as I said, using their tokens. And up here we have like a demonstration of how they're going to be scoring. So they do score per completed column, per completed row, in terms of what die they are drafting. So they score points for pairs, 3s of a kind, all different die, 4 of a kind, or 5 of a kind in the rows. They score an extra 5 points at the end of the game for a completed window. They -1, much like us, at the end of the game for any empty space. They score for their favour tokens, and they also score for their secret objectives. So I have found so far that it can be quite a challenge, this solo mode. So I think I've won a couple of times, but I have lost way more than I have won. So it's going to be an interesting one today. I hope it's a good playthrough. Let me draw 10 of these. So there's 10 there. And what have we got? So we have got the flux remover as our first tool over here. So after drafting, return the die to the dice bag and pull 1 die from the bag. Choose a value and place the new die, obeying all placement restrictions, or return it to the draft pool. That's a nice one. Haven't seen that one for a very long time. Glazing hammer. We've got re-roll all dice in the draft pool. This may only be used on your second turn before drafting. That's also very nice. And then the running pliers. After your first turn, immediately draft a die. Skip your next turn this round. Okay. And then our scoring criteria. We've got shade variety. So sets of 1 of each value anywhere, light shades, sets of 1 and 2 anywhere, and column shade variety, columns with no repeated values. All very shade heavy. So shade is represented by the value of the die in this game. You've also got the colours, which represent colours, I think. So we're just going to start off drafting 5 die from the bag. This really does operate very much like a normal 2-player game. So we're going to draft 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and give them a roll. And then what we do is we pop them in any random order onto the first 5 die spaces. because the automa card is going to then tell us what die they're going to be drafting according to what spot they're on. So in odd rounds, we go first, so I have the first dibs about what I want. I am mindful that I have got green, so that green 5 could be very nice. But let's have a think about what's going to be more beneficial for us. We want light shades as well and column variety. I don't really want a green yet because that green 5 could go here, but you have to start at the edge on your first turn, so that's going to be no good. So maybe I will go for a yellow. I don't really want to pop him there. I could maybe, I was going to say the yellow, I could do a red there actually. The yellow, the red 3 could go in there. Or I could do a yellow 3 in there. That could be good. Or the green 2. Basically, these are all really good choices, bar the one that I would particularly want, which is the green 5. I don't think there's a good idea to start with that one. But maybe it is because none of our scoring criteria have restrictions on greens. It's like shades. So maybe I will. I'm going to go for it. So I'm going to just draft the die, and I think let's start in the corner, because at least then we've got a couple of options that we can branch out with here. So what happens on their turn? Let's draw their first card. And they will usually have 2 sections. So at the very top, it tells you what die they're going to be drafting on their turn. They will also sometimes have something else down here, but this is blank. So as we get to it, we will see what they're doing. That's when they may pop their tokens on some of their tools. But they're instead going to be taking 2 turns now. So they're going to be drafting die number 1 if it's available, which it is. And they're just going to pop it at the very top slot according to what colour column they're on. And then they're going to be grabbing die number 3. So this is the green 2, and pop it there. It's so easy to run, it's brilliant. And then I get the choice of what I want to draft for my last die. I don't want that 3 because that's going to block down here. And actually, I don't really want that 5 either. So he's drafted both die that I didn't particularly want. So that's not great. I don't really want to start off strong by using a tool, but maybe I will. You know what, we're going to use a tool because I don't want to lock myself out of this column shade variety scoring criteria already. Now this is a really, once again, don't use these playthroughs as any strategic guide, but I usually avoid using these tools. Like, I sometimes never even use them. And maybe I should. They're there to be used. So I'm going to re-roll all the die in the draft pool. So I'm going to do it one at a time so I know, oh, it doesn't matter anymore. I was just thinking I don't want to mess up where they are, but they've finished drafting, so it doesn't matter anymore. So I'm just going to re-roll these and see if they're any better. They are, so that's good. Let's go for the red 6, I think. Should I go for the red 6? I could pop that here, and then that still allows that 6 to still be present there. Yeah, let's go for the red 6. So I'm going to pop that over there. And now what happens with the last die is you pop it above your round tracker, because usually you just keep it on the numbered spaces, but because we're going to be popping die on there, as we draft new ones, we don't really want to be blocking those spaces. So that is the end of our first turn. And he is going to go first this time, so let's draft him 5 die. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And see what he's going to be doing after I've popped them randomly on the tracker. Okay, so this is where he's going to be starting to interact with the tools. So first of all, he's going to be drafting die number 4, which is this yellow 5. And then he's going to be placing either 1 or 2 tokens, depending on whether I've already been onto that tool. But this is tool number 1, so they are in order. So left is number 1, middle is number 2, right is number 3. So he's just going to pop one of his tokens on tool number 1. And then I get to draft 2. So he is, once I finish drafting 2 die, he's going to be trying to draft number 2. So this is the red 1, and that wouldn't be too bad for him to draft, I don't think. I'm just mindful, if he's got red as his secret objectives, that would be really good. He may be a little bit more susceptible to get like 5 of a kind in a row, which will be bad, but it's too early to worry about that. So let's just focus on what I want to be doing. I've just thought, I didn't want to put that there. I'm putting it there. It was so funny, like when you're actually filming these things, like I know what I'm trying to do in my head, but I think because I still get nervous on camera, I do stupid things. I was absolutely intending it to put in that spot. Okay, that purple 6 could be really good. I could put a purple 6 here. I don't want to put a purple in there because they're 6s and you can't put the same value next to each other. And then I could draft that blue 4. That could be quite good. Maybe I'll do that. So let's go for a purple 6. I'm just looking because if he cannot draft die number 2, he then goes to die number 1 and then die number 5. So I'm trying to like be mindful. I don't want him to have high values. So let's go for that purple. And then second one, I think I'm going to go for the blue 4. Let's go for the blue 4. Where do I want you? Let's pop you in here because I'm going to get less and less choice then, because I'm going to block myself in a little bit. I think that's a good choice. And then his last turn, he's going to draft die number 2 if he can, and he can. So he's just going to pop that in his red column. And this 6 goes up here. So we're back to an odd round. So that means I'm drafting first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, lots of purples are coming out. I want greens. Okay, that green 5 could be really good. So let's just think if that's going to lock me out of anything else though. Not necessarily, because I could then put purple in there if he's drafting lots of bits and pieces that are not purple. Yeah, that would be silly to pass that opportunity up, I think. That green 5 would look very nice there. I need to be mindful of this shade variety. I want to branch out my values as much as possible. But ultimately, we're a little bit stuck as to what comes out. Okay, let's draft that green 5. And we're going to pop him here. And then he's going to go twice. So he's going to grab die number 1, the purple 4. He's also now going to try and put 1 token on tool number 1. It's already blocked. So he's going to put 2. And then it's full. I can't use that anymore. He's then going to grab die number 2. He cannot. So he's going to progress to die number 3 and draft that one. So he's really nicely filling up his column. Now, all different ones are going to score him 5 points, which pairs are 4 points. So it would be good to get him a pair, actually, if we can think about that. But we'll see. And then it's my last turn. Do I want that 1 or do I want that 3? I could put the 1 here, which would be very nice, and I could put that 1 here, which would equally be very nice. I think there's going to be more restrictions here because I don't have anything in this column, and I'm trying to get column shade variety. So let's go for the purple 1, I think, and pop him in here. Because then at least I'm starting to get some lower values as well, because the second one is light shade, sets of 1 and 2 anywhere, and I haven't even got anything of that yet. So we're going to go for that one, I think. Okay, so 5 for him. Oh, we got a nice green 6. I bet he's going to draft it though. Oh, no he's not. Okay, so he's going to draft number 2. And pop 1 token on tool 3. If he doesn't have any tokens left, or he doesn't have enough to put on the tool itself, he just skips that part of his turn. We just ignore it. So I get the opportunity to draft twice here. I'm really eyeing up that green 6. I think I'm getting a little bit carried away with my personal objective. Maybe I should be focusing a little bit more and getting some shade variety. It's very tempting. No, I can actually go for, because I don't have any 3s yet. So 3s would be really good. I've already got 2, I've already got 2 5s. So what I'm going to do is draft this green 6 and pop that here, I think. Because I can't pop it there because of you. I've already got a 6. And then for my second die, I'm going to draft this green 3, getting lots of greens, which is fabulous. And then I can pop that on this spot here, this 3. And then that means I've got my first column shade variety, also expanding my shade variety in general because I don't have a 3 yet. I think that was a pretty good choice. And then he's going to draft the 5, the purple 5, and that's it. I really like this automa. I think it's just so simple, but also does really sort of, there's enough cards in the whole deck, I've removed some of them, to sort of give you a bit of a rush to use those tools. Because a lot of the time I tend to sort of keep drafting my die, and I manage to sort of place a lot of my die in the best possible way and ignore the tools for the first part of the game or until much later in the game. But here you can't. You need to be quite mindful. There's only 2 spots left now, and one of them could go in a minute. Okay, so we are on round 5, so I'm drafting first. So there's a 2, which could be quite good, but I can't pop him in here because there's too much green. I could put the 2 up here, and then I'd have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a 6, so at least I've got 1 shade variety, 5 points. Maybe that's a good option. Plus it's given me an extra 2 points because it's a green. What else? I don't really want that yellow 1 because I don't want him in there, because then I need yellow there. I won't be able to put another yellow next to another yellow. I don't think I want another 6 right now. I'm not sure I want him to have the 6 though. What's his column scoring? For all different, they're 5 points. It's still not bad. If it's 4 of a kind, it's 8 points. So that's what you're really trying to not allow them to do. Okay, I'm going to go for that green 2, I think. So pop that green 2 over here. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that. And then what is he going to do? He's going to draft number 1. Okay, that's fine. And then he's going to draft number 5. He cannot because I have taken that one. So then he's going to go to number 2. So he is going to grab that 6. All right. And then I've got 2 3s to look at. I could put a 3 here. No, I don't want to put a 3 there. I also don't want to put a 3 there because of the 3 here. I could put that red 3 here. Maybe I'll do that red 3. Is that the best thing to do? I think so. Yeah, let's draft you red 3 and pop you in here. Because it's not about row shade variety, it's column shade variety. Yeah, that's good, that's good. Okay, so there go to draft first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's halfway. We're very light on yellows this game. He's nicked them all. Again, he's not interacting with the tools, so he's going to draft number 2. So this is interesting. So now he is not able to draft number 2 because he has already completed his yellow column. So what happens is you actually look at the die that's above that particular round and see if he can place that one instead. In this instance, he cannot use this yellow because his yellows are already completed. He also cannot use this purple because his purple's already completed. So what happens is he forfeits his turn, which is fabulous. You only sort of go towards the next number and on his turn, when the die has already been drafted by yourself. So he will have a look again in a minute about his second die that he wants to draft, which is number 4, which is this one, which he's able to draft, and he'll be able to draft that one as well. If, for example, he wasn't able to. So that's really good. So he essentially will have an empty space at the end of the game. So I get the choice of 2. What do I want to draft? I needed that blue one. That blue one could go here, and then I'd have 2 1s. I'd need to then start thinking of 2s. I've got 2 3s. I need another 4 as well. Maybe then, oh, okay, let's grab this blue 1 and this blue 4, because then I've got 2 1s. This 4's different to all of them. 2 1s. I've only got 1 2 at the moment. I've got 2 3s. I've got 2 4s. I've got 2 5s and 2 6s. So we're getting there with our shade variety. I'm sort of ignoring the light shades. They're only worth 2 points at the end of the game if you get sets of 1 and 2. So I'm much more interested in this shade variety in general, where you need a set of 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, and 6. It's going to ultimately earn you much more. Okay, so he's going to draft his last die. He's going to try and draft die number 4. He cannot. So he's going to go to die number 3. So he's going to grab that green 5. Maybe I should have gone for the green 5. I could have got 5 points from that. I don't know. Oh, it's gone now. It's gone now. And what happens then is both of these just go to the top. All right. Round 7. I'm really glad that he didn't manage to draft a die there. If you're a lot more clever playing board games than I am, you could, really manipulate them into trying to block what they can and can't draft. But I'm not that clever. I just like to play a lot more lightheartedly. So who's drafting first? So this is round 7, so I am drafting first. It's a shame that that's a green 2, because I needed 2 to go in here. But, oh well. I also need some yellows now, because otherwise I'm going to get into trouble here a little bit. I could go for this red 6. It would probably be better to pop in here, a red 6. I don't want that. Yeah, I don't want... Oh, I could go for the green 2 here, actually. Maybe I'll go for the green 2 here. Red 6 or green 2? Red 6 or green 2? Let's go for a green 2. And then let's see what he's drafting. He's going to go for die number 5. He cannot. So he's going to go for the red 6. That's a shame. And then this blue 1. Alright, so I've got a choice of a blue 1 or a blue 1. So he can't go there, 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 and he can't go there. So, do I want to take that as a miss or roll some die? I'm just thinking, where is he going to go? I'd need to get either a 2 or a 3. And that's quite a big risk, isn't it? Maybe I should have done after your first turn, immediately draft a die. Because then at least I could have backseated that red 6. Do you reckon, what do you reckon? Is that worth the risk? I'm going to go for it. I'm not usually very risky, but let's do it. I'm going to pop 2 there, re-roll all dice in the draft pool. This may only be used on your second turn before drafting. And I've got a 2, so it was worth doing. So I can pop this 2 here. Is that my second 2? No, I've got 3 2s now, so I've got 2 1s. I've got 3 2s. I need a 3. Oh, yeah, I need another 3. I've got 2 3s. I've got 2 4s, 2 5s, and 3 6s. Okay. Alright, I really need yellows, otherwise I'm going to get into a bit of a pickle. He's got all the yellows. Oh, we got some yellows. Let's see what we can do with them. I bet they're the wrong values. So he's going to draft first. Round 8. So he's going to grab number 3, which he cannot do because it's a purple. And above, he's not able to do either because that's also a purple, which is fabulous, which means I get to draft twice. He's going to be looking at this yellow 5 in a minute and that yellow 4. Okay, so I want these yellows. I can't draft that red 3 because there's a 3 here. So I think yellow is the answer. And there's no point in looking at the tools anymore because I've only got 1 token left. I chickened out a little bit and I went for a glass window that wasn't that difficult. So when you choose one of your, where are they? I don't know where they are, but one of your windows, they're interchangeable. The more difficult ones, you get more favour tokens at the beginning of the game, but I chickened out a little bit and went for a lower difficulty, so I only had 4. I believe the difficulty can go up to 6 favour tokens. But yeah, they start with 5, so theirs is like a 5 difficulty, but I chickened out just because my last few games where I usually go for the more difficult ones, just because I like the challenge, but they didn't go very well, and so I wanted to try and get a semi-successful playthrough going. Let's go for these yellows. I think it would be silly to not. So let's go for a 5. I don't think it really matters where I pop them. And let's pop this 4 down here. I think that's as good as that's going to get. And he's going to try and go for number 2. It's no longer there. And number 4, it's no longer there. So he's going to draft the 5. He cannot, that was such a good decision because now look what's happening. He can't draft that purple one. It's as if I planned it. I didn't, unfortunately. Maybe I should pretend I did. And he also can't draft this top one either because these 2 columns are blocked. So he cannot take any turns this round, which is amazing. So, funnily enough, I should have maybe picked a more difficult one because I maybe will win. I don't want to say that too early. But it's going okay. Got some more yellows coming out now. Let's think about my shade variety as well. So he's going to draft first. No, I'm drafting first. Am I drafting first? I'm drafting first. It's odd. It's an odd round. So how many things have I got? I have got 1, 2 ones. I've got 1, 2, 3 2s. I've got 1, 2, 2 3s. I'm going to get another 3, hopefully. So at the moment I'm lacking in 1s. And then, sorry, thinking very hard. Yeah, how many 3s? 1, 2. I've got 2 3s, so I need another 3, but that's the third 3. So I do need another 1, so hopefully I can grab that one in a minute. 4s, I think I'm light on 4s. 1, 2, 3, no, 3 4s. 5s, 1, 2, 3 5s, and 6s. I've got 3. Okay, so if I could get a 3 and a 1, we would have 15 points from this one here, which would be amazing. I'm just thinking, I don't really want that one though. I want that one to go here. So let's grab it before I forget. I want this red 3 to pop him in here. And then don't you dare nick that purple 1 that's going to go in here for me. Okay? You hear that? He can't nick the purple 1 anyway. So that one's safe. What have I just been saying? He can't get the purples or the yellows. So he's going to grab number 4, which he cannot. So he is going to go straight to number 3. He cannot grab this. This is amazing. This has never happened. This is a fluke. This is an absolute fluke. But it's very good for me. He cannot draft this one because he's full. So he looks above. He is full as well. So he ignores that turn. So he then progresses to his second drafting. So he's going to go for die number 5, which is full. So he's going to go to the top one, which is full. So he then ignores his second turn, which then goes back to me. He's also looking at popping his final token on tool number 2, but tool number 2 is now full up and he has only got 1 token anyway if it had already been used once. So I get to draft. Just going to check that that is definitely the best option for me. I think so. That's going to get me 5 points automatically. I don't want a yellow 2 in there because I've already got a 2 in the column. I don't want a yellow 2 in there because I can't have it in there physically. I don't want the 5 in there. I don't want the yellow 3 in there. Can't have a yellow 3 in there. So yes, you are going in there. I'm a bit worried about this red, but we'll just have to see what happens there. Final round. And I feel like this has gone, this is completely abnormal. I think only in one of my games they've had a spare space. Like, it's only like they've ever skipped their turn like once or maybe twice maximum. They've skipped their turn so many times. So that's very abnormal. So this is not quite a normal game. It's usually a bit more challenging. So don't be put off by this. This is a very, very good representation of playing against someone, but they've just had a lot of bad luck. So anyway, they are drafting first because it's an even turn. They're going to go for die number 3. So they have really been screwed over this round. Hey, look, die number 3. They've got purples that they're blocked, and they can't go to the top one either. Bless them. And look at this. Look at this. I could grab this red 1 to put in there. And then what else? Oh, this is perfect. This couldn't have gone better. Red 1 goes in here. And then let me just check if there's anything better to do. I can't put purples or blues in there. So actually, I'm going to put that straight in there. And I still have that shade variety here, which is amazing. This is a demonstration of what your glass should look like. Here's the trainee amateur here. I can't believe how bad he's done. He's going to now try and draft his final die, number 4 slot. So he is able to. So he is popping that one in there. And that triggers the end of the game. There we go. Wow, he has skipped out on 6 drafts in that round. That's just unheard of. I'm not sure what happened. It definitely wasn't skill. It was a lot of luck. But anyway, let's proceed to final scoring. Final scoring is very simple because you have this printout here. And we'll just run through it and see who came out on top. Okay, I have grabbed a calculator because doing mental maths on camera is not my thing. So it's really easy to follow because we are literally just going down the little sheet that we have here. And they are only going to be scoring for completed rows and columns. So they're really not scoring too much at all. So let's do columns first. So we've only got 2 completed columns. And this is where the only time in the game that you are looking at the value of the die, otherwise you're just placing them and ignoring everything else on that turn. So he's got a 2, 4, 5 and a 6. So all different, he's going to grab 5 points for that column. And yellows, he's got 1, 3, 5 and a 6. So again, he's got 5 points for that. Then we go into completed rows. If he has got, again, we're looking at the values. So in the first one, he's got 1 pair. So a pair of 1s. So for a pair, you're scoring 4 points. There's 4, yeah. And then this one, he's got a pair of 5s. And that's it. So he's scoring another pair. If he had 2 different pairs, he would score that twice. And then, unfortunately, he's really lagging. Completed window, he would gain an extra 5 points. He definitely hasn't done that. Empty spaces, so he's got 6 empty spaces, so he's going to be minusing 6 points there. Unused favour tokens, he's got 1 left over, so let's add 1 to his score. And then, moment of truth, his secret objective was the reds, so he's only managed to get 2 die, and total value of 7 there. And so he's only managed to get a measly 20 points. For comparison's sake, like some of the games that I have played, he has managed to get up into the 70s. He did so well, and quite honestly, I don't remember what my best ever score in Sagrada was, but it's like usually pushing like 50s and 60s. I don't think I've ever even seen 70, and he was well up there. And yeah, it made me think like, wow, this can be a very competitive game. This particular version has not been. So he scored a grand total of 20. I think I've scored that basically off of off of these, a couple of these alone. So let's just do it bit by bit. So let's have a look at the shade variety. So whatever I've got least of, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 ones. I've got 1, 2, 3, 3 twos. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 threes. 5s. I've got 1, 2, 3, 3 5s, and 3 6s. So three sets of shade varieties. So 15 points plus light shades. So sets of 1 and 2 values anywhere. So what was it I said? I think I was 2 that I was restricted by, wasn't it? I've got 1, 2, 3 twos, yeah, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So 3 times 2 is 6. And then column shade variety, columns with no repeated values. I believe I've done that across the board. So I've got 1, 3, 2 and a 5, 2, 1, 4 and a 3, 6, 5, 3 and a 4, 4, 6, 1 and a 3, 5, 2, 6 and a 1. So that's amazing. So I've got all 5 columns. So that's 20 points. Amazing. Then you are looking at unused favour tokens, so I've got +1 there. Minusing any empty spaces on your board, I don't have any empty spaces. And then shades of green, so I have got quite a lot. I've actually done alright, so I've got 10 here, 14, 20, 23. So I've got 65. That's not a bad score. That might be one of my best. I feel like I was exceedingly lucky in that game. But yes, so I have well and truly won that game. At least it makes me feel good because I have been quite destroyed a couple of times with this game in my recent plays of this one, so it's nice to get quite a clear-cut win. But as I said, if you're thinking like this game is just not looking quite so competitive enough for you, this is by far the easiest and biggest margin game that I have played, and I've played this one a good few times now. But anyway, this is Sagrada. This is the fan-made solo automa mode that I have found on Board Game Geek, and I will pop a link for that one down below if I can relocate it, because it was a couple of years ago now. I will be back in a moment with my final thoughts on this solo mode and the solo mode of Sagrada in general, although I haven't played that in a good number of years now. So sharing some thoughts on Sagrada and the solo mode. I bought this one because of how it looks. It's one that I've had for a good number of years now, and funnily enough, it was actually one of the first games that I bought because it had a solo mode. I had suddenly realised you could play games solo. I was like, okay, I'm going to set out and buy some that are well rated and look pretty and just get myself going and see if I enjoy playing solo. And unfortunately, I didn't particularly like this game solo at all. What happens in the solo mode when you just play it out the box, it doesn't really simulate an opponent as such. You are drafting only 4 die, or rolling only 4 die and drafting from that selection. And then what happens is you are trying to beat a target score, and that target score is determined by that final die that you did not draft on your turn. you are popping that one up on the like round track, and the total of all of those die at the end of the game is your target score. Ultimately, what I found that meant was I was scrabbling around for high values of any color die as quick as possible because I was being completely flattened by the opponent, or that I wasn't able to beat that target score, because if it meant I was actually focusing on different shades or lower value die, or trying to complete those sets like I was today with the shade variety, I was basically handing them 6 points every round, and that was very tough. So it was a very weird game where you actually needed to half ignore what you were trying to score for. You've got some scoring criteria out, but you're ignoring it half the time and much more concerned with how many points you were giving them. And so I didn't particularly enjoy that. I put this one on the shelf, and it wasn't really being played that often. It's one that my husband and I do enjoy playing multiplayer. It's really fun 2-player, and we played it 4-player with a couple of friends as well, and it went down quite well. So it's a very good game multiplayer, but the solo mode just wasn't for me. I know some people do enjoy it, but it's certainly not one that I think has sort of got people chatting about. And so I was a little bit hesitant to sort of play this one again. There's been quite a few times that I've looked at my shelves in recent times and the last few years where I thought maybe I should sort of sell the ones that I weren't playing anymore or get myself some more room. But I couldn't really bring myself to part with this one. The aesthetics of this game are something that astounds me every time I get this out the box. I think if you put it side by side by every game I may have played, I think probably in my top 3 of the most visually stunning games that I own. I think it looks absolutely gorgeous. I love multicolored things. I love brightness. You wouldn't know that from what I wear half the time, but I love the feeling of all of that brightness and those rainbows. It's so happy, and I love seeing all of that out and about, and the die just pop, and I love the way they look. I love building up a multicolour window in front of you. I love the glass beads. It's just gorgeous. And so I really didn't feel like I wanted to get rid of it, and as well as my husband and I were enjoying it. And so I had a trawl through Board Game Geek and came across this solo mode. It does require printing, so you will need to print out the deck of cards unless somebody has made a little app for it now. Probably not. But this one is just so simple to run. I absolutely think it's a brilliant little design. It really does, it doesn't 100% simulate another opponent, but it's got a lot more interaction. So you are actually playing with the tool cards like you would in a multiplayer game. The one out of the box, you don't interact with the tool cards as you would normally. You'll see on the tool cards there's like a little coloured square in the corner, and that's used in the solo mode. So it's nice that this particular solo mode tries to implement the feel of a multiplayer game a lot more smoothly, and it certainly succeeds at that. I really love in this game how quick your turns are, especially when you are going through the solo mode. It's very nice to just turn over the card, see what they're drafting straight away. There's no ambiguity. You can get it done within a couple of seconds, and then you're straight back onto your turn. And I think don't get me wrong, I absolutely love crunchy, complicated games. I like fiddliness in games a lot of the time, but when I'm tired and I just want a quick 20-minute, half an hour game, I don't really want to be fiddling around with a flowchart of what the AI is doing. It's so nice to be able to just look at it visually. It's so clear. The cards are boring black and white, but they're so clear about what you're doing. And then get straight back into analysing what you're doing on your turn, because that's where your interest lies. Again, I love the fact that they're interacting with the tools alongside with you. They do interact with the tools depending on how you shuffle the cards, maybe really early on in the game, so you do need to be aware of that. Like, you can't be hanging around. Like in a multiplayer game, the tools can hang around for a while because there's a lot of choice at the beginning of the game. You're not too restricted, and so everyone tends to use the tools in the latter parts of the game. But in this game, you've got to be aware. If you want to use that tool at some point, or you see that opportunity to take that and you think that could work for you, you need to take it. And I like that. It makes it feel a little bit more competitive. I also really like how easy this one is to score. I love the fact that they've got a little scoring sheet that you can just literally have out in front of you. It makes it so smooth, and throughout the game you can just have a look back as to what points they're going to be getting from those completed rows and columns. It makes it very easy to just look at a glance as to what you may want to draft to try and maximize your score, but also to really manipulate them into a little bit of a corner. And as you could see in this particular one, they'd really back themselves into a corner with their purples and yellows. If I was very clever, I could have probably steered them even more into that direction. And I really like that fact. I think that's very clever. I really like also the fact that they score according to their values, but only at the end of the game. It just takes off any like complicated thinking on their turn as well, and it just pushes it all at the end when you're looking at scoring. You don't need to worry about them. It's an absolutely brilliant solo mode, and this is one that has really elevated this game to me again in recent times. It's not one I've actually got out on the table for a very long time, not for any particular reason that I didn't then enjoy it again, but there's so many new games that are coming out, and this one I got it out in the last couple of weeks, and I was like, yeah, you know, this solo mode is solid, and it's one that now I will have in the back of my mind for when I'm after it, like a smaller box. I call it a smaller box. It's the same size box as a standard like worker placement game, but it's a smaller table space game that requires only about 25 minutes to play. So it really fits a nice niche where you're just looking for a game that's a bit more lightweight and you don't have to think too much. And it didn't actually come up in this game, but having a look at some of the other cards, because you have some of them that you discard. So I think there's 17, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so you have 17 cards that you print off and you only use 10 in a game. So there is some replayability and variability. You never know quite what you're going to get. And there's a particular one here where the automa immediately drafts a second die as well. So it really does just simulate the feeling of a second opponent. I think it's very clever, and you really need to sort of be aware of that presence of that card, because that could mess up one of your drafting rounds. So I will leave that there for Sagrada. I think Sagrada is a absolutely stunning, beautiful game for multiplayer, and if you are willing to dive into the realm of creating your own solo mode, or by like printing out bits and pieces, it really isn't too much of an issue. Like, mine does not look pretty in any which way. Even the paper doesn't even fit into the card sleeves that I have, but because you're not really handling everything too much, it doesn't matter. As long as you're willing to like print out a couple of bits and pieces, I think this is a very solid solo game as well. As I said, the solo mode out of the box isn't the worst I've ever played. It's just one that I felt gave a very different experience to the multiplayer game that I was expecting. So if you're wanting to play Sagrada as you would expect to play Sagrada when you're playing with your family, I didn't get that feeling from it. It was a different game, and so I didn't particularly enjoy it that much. But playing it with the solo mode, I think it's a really beautiful, stunning game to look at, but also a very smooth and can be challenging game to win as well. So thank you very much for watching the playthrough today. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know down below if there are any fan-made solo modes that you're particularly fond of. If you did enjoy this playthrough today, please consider subscribing to the channel and you will be let know of any future releases that I do. Otherwise, have a lovely rest of your day, and I will see you on the next one. Bye bye.